All right. So, ladies, I have to say that tonight you guys are getting so much content, and I am so happy because I really want to make sure that you guys understand why is it so important to truly live your highest and truest self, and why it's important for you to understand that when you experience some kind of trauma in your life, there is a way for you to bounce back, whatever that trauma is. Now, you just heard two amazing ladies who spoke about their life, but this woman right here, Allyn, she has overcame some great traumas in her life. She has an amazing website now. She is an entrepreneur. She's enjoying her life. And if you haven't read her blog piece that she put on our website, I highly encourage it because the things that she talk about, especially boundaries, is something that we're going to get into tonight. So, Allyn, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love everything that you do and how much heart goes into all of your work.
Oh, absolutely. I want to, start from the beginning. I because I read the whole article, right? And I was saying to myself, I said, your story is, not uncommon. There's a lot of things that, happen when we experience trauma. But for the people who did not read and prefer video, can you just give us a little bit of a background of that situation that happened in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when I was in high school, I was a senior in high school. When you're supposed to be doing all of the fun senior in high school things, I lost my dad to suicide. And that was really, really rough.
Mhm.
I went right into college from there, which probably wasn't the best idea, but that's the route that I took. And I was actually a pre-med major and had an interest in medicine, but nothing ever felt right. And I had such a hard time concentrating and focusing, and like really just struggled in school. I struggled with creating and maintaining friendships and being social, and I just always had to keep myself busy to kind of not process what had happened with my dad. And somewhere along the line, I really started to feel like, I don't know if I can do this because I wasn't doing great in class. Everything was just kind of like hitting me all at once. And I was introduced to the world of entrepreneurship. And it was something I had never ever considered before. I never thought that I was going to be a business owner. I never thought that I was just going to do my own thing and that I would be running my own business. And the idea was so appealing to me because it gave me more flexibility than I would have had if I would have continued on to medical school or if I would have had a 9 to 5 job. And that was what I knew at the time that I really needed, because I had already been struggling with anxiety and depression before my dad died by suicide. And then on top of that, I just couldn't handle it. I didn't know how to cope, and I didn't have the right coping skills at that time. And so a couple businesses later, here I am.
Right.
And I've created a lifestyle platform where I really just want to encourage people to take a hold of the small moments every day that can really impact our happiness and our mental health. And had it not been for losing him, and I would definitely, I would prefer any version of this with my dad in my life,
Right.
but I don't think that I would have traveled down the path of owning a business. I don't think it's something I would have been open to. I don't think I would have been searching for answers for how do I cope with this stress and how do I live a life that I feel like I can manage despite what I have going on with my mental health. And so that's everything that brought me here.
Right. And the reason why I resonate with your story, my mom, she didn't die of suicide, but she was an addict, right? And so she died of AIDS. So it was like I'm 7 years old and my mom dies, and everybody's looking around like, okay, who's going to take care of these kids, because it was six of us, right? And so at the same time, subconsciously in your head, you're saying, okay, what now? Right? Like, is this person really gone or did they just go away? You know what I'm saying? Like you go through all of these emotions, especially when you lose a parent, because you're like, you always look outside. Like I was telling a lady before, you always look outside and you say, man, that's what I want, right? Because that is the piece that's missing. But at the same time, you build up this person inside of you that says, you know what? It's probably something that I need to be doing. Is that where you felt like the entrepreneurship came in? Was it something that kept you busy, or was it something that you just discovered that you enjoyed?
I think it was both. I think it was, when you start a business, you're going nonstop. There's
Absolutely.
always so much to do and
Yep.
always something that can be done. And so I loved how fast paced the world of owning a business was.
Hmm.
And I also enjoyed it more than anything I had ever done before. I was always interested in medicine and medical type things, and I found what I was learning like really interesting, but I wasn't a school person. I was really good at like analytical type
Yeah.
of thinking, but like give me multiple choice questions and I just
Really?
and so, I don't think that it was, even though it was something I was interested in, I don't think it was a career that was set up for the way that my mind worked.
Right.
And I really found that in entrepreneurship that it meshed well with how I think and the ability to think outside of the box and to always be searching for creative solutions. So it didn't just give me something to do, it gave me an area that I felt like I could thrive in,
Right.
which was really what I needed at that point in time in my life.
Hmm. It's like for me, I love holistic medicine, right? But I was never a biology major. I did computer science. But if it comes to something for myself, I got the human body book. I can look in it. I can, learn the different body parts and stuff like that. But if you put me in a classroom or anything, I'm falling asleep. I'm not interested, right? That's just not me. It's like you learn what you're interested in, and when you are engaged, right?
Yeah, yeah, and part of the problem was is when I would sit down and try to study and try to read these books, my mind would all of a sudden wander off to I lost my dad and my dad's not in the world anymore. As soon as I had that
Exactly.
moment to like have a break, all of that flooded in. And so not that that's necessarily like the healthiest way to process something by keeping yourself busy, but it was what I needed to get through it at the time and to do something where I didn't have as much space in my head.
Right. So when you started to talk about boundaries in the article, that's where my antennas go up, because I always stress about boundaries. I always stress about how you need to have your own space, and then you have those close friends, and then you have those associates, and then you have those people that you just engage with, right? So can you tell the ladies so they can hear another voice other than mine? What is the importance of boundaries and why you should have them?
Personally, for me, boundaries really ground me. I feel as though they helped protect myself and those around me, and it creates a safer, healthier environment
Right.
for me that I feel like also ends up affecting the people that I'm in contact with.
Mhm.
And I feel like boundaries, even though that they can be really hard to set and they can be even harder to maintain, once you do maintain them, they make a world of difference. And it's so empowering when you find your voice to tell other people like, hey, here's what I need, like, can you meet me in the middle on this? And there are so many different stressful things about life, especially right now, and I think a lot of people don't even realize. I'm trying to think about the best way to say what's in my head. Boundaries are so different for everyone, and what
Yeah.
one person needs is completely different from what somebody else needs. And
Mhm.
so I often find that when I'm setting boundaries with somebody or attempting to set boundaries, that they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that that's like what you need, and meanwhile I've been trying in this aspect and that's not what you needed. And you learn so much about yourself and about others in a way that brings in some sense of security. And no matter what you're stressed about, when you can have some of that secure feeling, it empowers you to be able to do more and be more and to feel a little bit more okay.
Right. And that's what I like about that, because boundaries allows you to teach people how to treat you, basically, right? It shows people up front, what you want and how you want to be treated. And if you step out of those boundaries, then you might not be the right person, for my life, right? So, can you say that you have healed from uh, the trauma with your dad, or is it still a work in progress for you?
No, it's definitely a work in progress. It's something that crosses my mind every single day. It's something that I have breakdowns over still. And I mean, this was, oh, I don't even know, like 11 years ago,
Hmm.
12 maybe.
Hmm.
And so it's been a long time and it's still something that I have a lot of pain over. But I can say that I have found much healthier ways to process and manage it and heal from it. And definitely talking about it has really helped, and connecting with other people who have gone through something similar has been really life changing to realize that I'm not alone. And it's actually really interesting to see how many people feel like that, especially with this topic, or like, oh, I had no idea that you lost your dad to that. I lost somebody that I love too, because it's something that we don't talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 41 and my mom died when I was 7. But Mother's Day is still hard, right? And seeing mothers go to the salons with their kids or at the nail shop and talk about their kids is just like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we understand that we couldn't control what happened, but what comes out of that is the strength like no other. I told a friend of mine, I said, a person who went through that kind of trauma, especially if you lose a parent or anything like that, your life is has changed so much where you have compassion for people, right? That you never even thought you would have, right? Because you go through the angry stage, you go through the sad stage, the angry stage, and then you go through the denial stage, and then you try your best to accept it. But when things happen, people who suffered a lot of loss are very compassionate people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know what somebody's dealing with. You never know what they're going through. And that is definitely something I really learned going through this, is that somebody might be, mean to you or do something that pisses you off. And like it has nothing to do with you. And it can be
Correct.
whatever they're dealing with underneath it. And I try to remind myself that as soon as I'm getting frustrated.
But see, you can do that though. But see, other people will take it literally. But
Yes.
because of your experience, you would say, "Oh, well, shoot, that's not me. That's not me. Oh, they're just being that way, because there's something wrong with them." And you can brush that off. But some people take it literally, right? And I said that's the difference. So now you're an entrepreneur, you have this website, you're this businesswoman. How's business? How's things going?
They're going. Um, I think that I am in the best place strategically that I've ever been.
Mhm.
Um, I've had different peaks and valleys, and I've had a lot of periods where my business did sustain me for a couple months and I didn't have to have any kind of income from anything else. And it was always very short lived because I was doing things that weren't, I was running my business in a way that wasn't the best for my mental health. I did a lot of things in the past where I was working one on one with people, and that was very draining for me, even though I loved the work. And so I am so happy. I can't say that like I'm profiting more than ever before, but I feel like I'm in the best direction than I ever have been, because I have figured out what I am capable energetically and what I'm not. And if I could share that message with like every business owner, I would do it. Like, figure out how to run your business in a way that feels good for you mentally, because no matter how long it takes, once you figure that out, that's the key to being able to keep going.
Oh, absolutely. I figured that out early. I already, told my team, this is what I like to do, this is what I'm going to do. Everything else, you guys got it, because it is important that you keep yourself in that space because you're the visionary. You're the one who is going to go from zero to hero, right? And if you don't have that space to be creative and imaginative and to think, and you boggle down with the day to day, how are you going to be able to grow? How are you going to be able to create?
And
right?
I did not do that. I was like, well, here's what I love, and here's what I want to do, and here's what I want to be able to do, but I don't think I can make a living off of that. So let me find something that's like in line with it, but not that. And so I've done like probably 4 or 5 different things like that. And now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do what I love and I'm going to figure it out.
That's right. And that's usually how it happens. I mean, I probably had 7, 8 businesses before, I've really got into this business and this is what I love to do. But you go through those stages and cycles because you're like, you know what? I'm trying to navigate and figure it out. But
Yeah.
what are some of the self-care things that you do now for yourself to kind of keep yourself in line so you can be successful at business?
I think that the biggest thing that makes an impact on my day is when I go to bed on time and wake up early. That sounds like such a simple thing,
No, it
but
don't, because I'm the same way. I'm the same way, girl. I'm telling you the truth.
it's really, I've actually like fallen out of that right now. I just moved
Yep.
back in with my mom temporarily while all
Yeah.
of this craziness is happening, and like I
Right.
fell off that wagon and I'm like, why am I struggling so much? It's because I'm not going to bed early and I'm not getting up early. Like that is really the most impactful thing that I could do for my mental health. But other than that, I think that the other thing is, for so long I tried to run like a perfect business where I was trying to email everyone back right away, and I was trying to be on top of all the things that you're supposed to be on top of, and that just isn't realistic for me. And I think I really learned to like pick my battles. Like if I have a deadline or a project, like I need to make sure I uphold that. But if it takes me like 4 or 5 2 weeks to email somebody back, like it's not a big deal. And like I've been meaning to update my bio for on my website for like 6 months. Like there are just all of these little things that I used to be so worried about, and I've learned not to sweat that small stuff and to really put my focus into what I love, which is writing and creating images and doing as much as I can with my camera. And I think that making sure that I balance the pieces I love with all of the extra like day-to-day stuff you have to do as a business owner, rather than making sure that those things come first, has been a game changer. To let my passion lead my business rather than everything that you're like supposed to do when you own a business.
Right. And so the gym, you said it's a lifestyle website. So you get information, you get fashion. I saw travel. Like, what was the inspiration behind that? Is it just because that's all of the things that you like and you just put them together?
Yes and no. I think that it stemmed from fashion, like that feeling in the morning when I put on an outfit that just makes me feel like I'm on top of the world.
Right.
And when I buy a dress that has a fun color and it just like makes me feel more like vibrant.
Right.
And kind of it all stemmed from that feeling. Like, what other decisions can I make throughout the day to feel like that? And so that's what I try to share. It's not like, oh, here, I bought this thing and you should buy it too. It's like I really try to write from a space of, this makes me really happy. Like, what can you do that is just a small thing that's going to uplift your day? And so for me, it's not just fashion, it is taking trips when I'm feeling really drained and needing to be refreshed. And especially right now, I'm like, okay, what road trips can I go on that are 2 hours away? Because I don't want to get on a plane, but I need to get out. And I used to write a lot more about mental health. And to be honest, it's been a challenge to write about lately. But it is something that I feel very passionate about and that I love to share, because it really is the small stuff that makes a big impact. And I think that's one of the things that I learned in therapy is, what small things can you change about your day that are going to help you overall? I think a lot of times we focus on like making these big changes and we have to make big shifts and we have to take all of these big steps to get to where we want to be, or to get to a place where we're happier or feeling more fulfilled. And I really believe that it comes from the smallest things, like getting up an hour earlier, or, you know, putting the trash bag in the can when you take out the trash rather than waiting until the next time you need to throw something in there. Like,
Right.
like it's just like those little moments, and we don't think about them. Like, you don't think about those kind of things helping
Nope.
your mental health, but I try to bring those the small moments to the forefront so that people can find those little ways to bring a little bit more okayness and joy to their day.
Oh man, I'm loving this because I am that way where I will get the Whole Foods bag and put food in it and put the trash in it, only because I didn't put the trash in the bag in the trash thing.
I'm glad that's
So
relatable.
like, right, and I'm like, oh my god. And I sit up there and I say to myself, like, oh, just put a bag in there. And it's not until I forget about the Whole Foods bag and I throw something in there, and now I'm mad because I forgot that the bag wasn't, the bag is not in there. But yeah, so on the website, you can do what? You can go there, can you shop, or is everything uh uh surrounded around a story and photography? Like if a person goes to the website, what can they expect?
So it's a little bit of both of those things. So sometimes you'll find a post where it really is just about the fashion, because part of finding a business strategy that worked for me mental health wise was, okay, how can I really like optimize Google and find give people answers to what they're looking for. So some pieces are good. Like I just published a piece on like what shoes to wear for a jumpsuit. And like you're not going to find a lot of like depth behind that, but it's going to answer your question. And so you'll find pieces like that. But then there are more heartfelt pieces that are really from a moment that I had where I was like, I think I could teach something from this, or traveling and how those experiences made me feel. Or if there's a particular like piece in my closet that really speaks to me, I like to try to talk about like where that came from and why I was inspired to buy it or wear it or style it. And so it's a little bit of both, um, just depending on what I feel capable of writing and how I feel I can best serve whoever I'm writing that particular piece for.
I love it. And so let us know how we can follow you. How
So
can we connect with you?
you can connect with me on Instagram. I'm Allyn_Lewis. My website is hitthegem.com. Like instead of hitting the gym, you like hit the gem when you need to feel a little inspired.
Mhm.
So you can check out my website there and find me on Instagram. Those are probably the best places because I can't mentally handle Facebook.
Right. Oh my God, Alan, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our interview. And
I
yes,
can't
we will
thank
make
you
sure
enough
that we
either.
put your we'll make sure we put all of your handles and everything on our page so that everybody can follow and everybody can connect with you and check out the website. And thank you for the wonderful article because I really enjoyed it. I read the whole thing, I did, and I loved your story and I love how you were able to give some good advice. It just shows, you know, your growth and how you're continuing to grow,
Thank you.
right?
And I can't thank you enough for allowing me to write it, because I had mentioned that I'm like struggling to write content around mental health, and it's been a long time since I've written a blog post about something like that, and it like really inspired me to come up with all these other ideas. And so I really thank you for helping me tap back into that side of my creativity.
Absolutely. So we will definitely see each other again, okay? So we're gonna think of something where we can get you to come back, all right?
Anytime, and whatever I can do to support you. And I look forward to seeing what else you do and who else you have on the show and everything that you have in the works.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you have a
Thank
good night,
you.
okay?
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.